Alright, hey, what's up, guys? So today it's it's the 14th of Figuary, which is super exciting. We are halfway through, and it's Valentine's Day, which I didn't even realize. But yeah, how about that? And yeah, so I'm just gonna. I want to say real fast. So today I was looking through my drawer, um, just for something different to draw with instead of the normal ball pen and the felt brush. So, but I found a pack of these pencils here, which is color rays and they are like, if you know, they are kind of old animation pencils, or at least when I did an animation course a long time ago, we were drawing with these Prismacolor color rays. Normally, the animators choose to draw with blue or red. You see that quite a lot. The reason why they are colored is so you do the outline in color, and then on top you draw with either ink or a black pencil, and then you can key out the color. So that's basically, yeah, it's old like flipboard animation pencil. Um, I used to have a green one before. You know what? I'm just gonna start drawing and then I can plabber on while I'm drawing. So, okay, so let's do it. I'm gonna start the video. So I did one quick thing. I speeded down the video. You can do that in the corner here under the settings. You can set that to half speed. So that's what I did, just to yeah, I don't know, a little bit less stress. I think I got a little bit more time this morning, so yeah. So the 2 minutes, no, the 1 minute will be 2 minutes, and the 2 minutes will be 4 minutes, and the 5 minutes will be 10 minutes. So yeah, just to let you know that happened. All right. Oh, and it's a pretty muscular man, which is, it's always nice with these bodybuilders. You can see a bit more anatomy. Yeah, of course, it doesn't make anything easier, but it is fun. That's what it's all about. Okay, so the first pose here. So I think it's gonna be 2 minutes. At least for me. Just starting with the leg here. Such a nice pen, such a smooth, I don't know, experience drawing with it. So I used to do some comic books back then when I was younger. I think I was 17 when I did this animation course. I used to do comic books with these color rays pencils here. So it's a kind of, it's nice, you know, that feeling when you're looking through all your old pens and stuff like that, and find a relic from the past to draw with. Also, I remember, because they were a little bit hard to come by, there was only one company in one it's called retail art supply store, who actually was selling these color rays pens, and they stopped selling them. I remember I bought 2 packages just before they stopped selling them. And I had one green one, which was I don't know, I used to do live drawing with it, not very often, because it was kind of, yeah, I almost used it up, so there was only a little bit of it left, and I loved that pen so much. It almost had this magical thing to it where the drawings, I just really liked the drawings, the smoothness of them. So it's like having this magic pen in your pencil case, which you don't want to use only when there's a really nice pose and a really nice model, and you think, okay, now I'm gonna bring out the magic and make it really good. And I think also it's probably the pen probably didn't do much to it. It's just the psychological state that you put yourself in when you're like, oh man, this is now all the sun and the moon and the stars are coming together at this moment with my magic pencil. So, oh man, I think started a little bit tough. I kind of like to do a bit more the what's it called, the legs and kind of the lower part of the body. I feel a bit more comfortable once I have all that stuff in. If I start doing the torso before I do that, I feel like a lot of times I get out of proportion. I start doing the torso way too big, or do the legs too big, I don't know. It is kind of, you do become a little bit accustomed to habits that you have like that. I know most people are starting with the head, which I always found a little bit strange. It's, I mean, I guess it is a kind of a logical place to start, in the sense that it might be the first place that a lot of people are looking, but I don't know. I think the head is such a even though people say it's the head is like an eighth or 7.5 of the body, and that might be a reason why to do it, but I feel like an eighth, I mean, if you make the head a centimeter too big or too small or whatever, and you multiply that with 8, you got like 8 centimeters, which is, I don't know, it's like quarter of a head. It's, I don't know, it's just oh, I'm sorry, that didn't make much sense, but I find if you want to get some size reference that makes sense, you should start with a bigger proportion than an eighth. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. For some people it's working. For other people it doesn't work. There is no rules. There is only one rule, and that's we're not really supposed to talk about Fight Club. But besides that, it's you're totally free to, as long as you're enjoying what you're doing. I guess that's the most important. All right, I feel a little bit lost in the drawing, which is absolutely fine. I quite like being in the state of not being totally in control, kind of struggling a little bit. I find that's a good thing. You're kind of, it keeps you looking at the model, it keeps you kind of learning. Okay, I think, was that it? I think that was it for the 2 minutes. So don't know. That was all right. Yeah, but I think it's really healthy to struggle as you are drawing. If you are getting too much into a pattern where you just kind of draw the same way every time, and you just perfected this. You're not really looking at the model. You're not really learning. You're not really struggling with it. It's kind of, I think you always have to kind of push yourself and get out of your comfort zone. At least, I don't know. It depends on what you want to do. If you just want to make nice drawing that wows everybody, maybe just finding a technique that works for you and just perfecting that might be exactly what you need. So now it's 2 minutes, which is kind of 4 minutes for me, since I have the speed of the video. So I think is also when you kind of challenge yourself and get out of your comfort zone and not draw the same way every time. The other thing that happens is, of course, you are discovering new things and learning stuff about yourself through kind of that evolutionary process of making a lot of errors, and I think that's, I don't know, at least for me, that's just the best way of learning. It's just, yeah, making a bunch of mistakes and not be afraid of kind of, yeah, make ugly drawings. Of course, since I'm podcasting it live to the world, it would be nicer to kind of at least not completely look like a idiot amateur. But yeah, I don't know. It's fine. Yeah, I would say sometimes you can be a little bit like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't challenge myself this much. Kind of, or do a few practice drawings before I start broadcasting. But I'm not really doing that. I'm just jumping into it, which, yeah, I don't know. It's fine. Yeah, I'm also, I feel confident enough in drawing that it's not gonna go completely south. So I might be overdoing his muscles a tiny little bit, which I think is fine. I think you should also kind of embrace the model that's in front of you, and yeah, I don't know, you could just do a photograph if you want to just get the perfect rendering of the person. But of course, the interesting thing is that it's kind of going through your eyes and out through your hand, and that analytical process that happens in between there. It's kind of what makes the drawing interesting. So I don't know if that makes much sense, but it's I think that's it's a good point for not completely sticking to what is in front of you, and feel free to interpretate a little bit. Right. So one more 2 minutes / 4 minutes. So I find, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. I find that I'm starting with the torso all the time on this guy. I don't know, I tend to start with the feet quite a lot on most of my own other life drawings, or the hip. So, but that also varies from model to model. So, and also love life drawing is making a daily tutorial video. I don't know if there's so much tutorials. It more feels like tips and tricks, which I recommend checking them out. They are quite interesting, a lot of them. I do feel they're talking a lot about shading and kind of these techniques, which I feel, yeah, it's of course, it's a part of life drawing, but like a lot of times when you are doing these 1 minute and 2 minutes, and the longest one is 5 minutes, unless you pause the drawing, pause the video, and of course, it's very limited what you can do of shading and that kind of stuff when you have like 5 minutes, which is kind of the idea of the length. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it might make more sense to focus on like dynamics of the pose and all these other disciplines, which are also really important for doing life drawing and quick sketching. I feel like in terms of priorities, I would probably put shading and that kind of stuff a little bit on the back burner if I was teaching or giving tricks about life drawing. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of perspective is also important, but that's kind of the same thing. I wouldn't like for a live drawing session. I think understanding the line of action and kind of the basic proportions and anatomy and all these other things that goes into it. It's more important for me, or more important for getting good live drawing than perspective and shading. Right. So it did get a tiny bit messy. Oh, I think that was it for the 2 minutes. Just kind of continuing a little bit, trying to make it a little bit more readable with with some basic shading. All right, so now it's the 5 minutes / 10 minutes. Okay, it's an interesting pose. So I'm gonna try something completely different here. So this will be kind of the boundary, and I would put his head somewhere in this area, his shoulder in this area. So this shoulder around here, the middle of his torso coming down, the leg and the foot somewhere around here. And then the back leg is ending up in this area here. So I'm just kind of really roughly mapping everything out, and I do that based on kind of what I see in front of me. So it's not based on anatomy or based on like the muscles of the character. It's just basically the big shape of the triangle that the pose is kind of forming. And it's one technique. I mean, there's so many ways of starting a drawing, and I think this way it kind of, I don't know, it allows you to just kind of get the big shapes down really fast and get a map of where everything is placed before you kind of start going in and doing anatomy and all these other things, proportions and all right. So it's also gonna be really nice having a little bit of time off. I think it's a little bit needed for me. So I think I'll be back again on Wednesday next week. I will try to catch up with the drawing videos here once I get back, and yeah, I don't know. I think also as important it is to draw, and they're talking a lot about it takes 28 days to make a habit and make a daily habit out of drawing. I think not necessarily you become, I think it's as important to take breaks from drawing as it is to practice it. And there's a lot of things that's happening when you are taking a break. Like when you draw a lot all the time, like I'm doing at the moment, you kind of, you know how good you are, and you kind of know what to expect when you are finishing up a drawing. Like psychologically, if you take a break, you almost always think that you are, I don't know, you can get into that where you actually think that you're better than you actually are, and you are trying to hit something that might be a little bit different or a little bit better than what you're normally trying to go for. And I find that quite a lot. If I take a long break from life drawing, or take a long break from drawing and then come back, like the best drawings I do normally is in the few first days back again, and then after that it kind of gets into my regular ability, if that makes sense. But yeah, and I think also by the end of the day, drawing is just all about seeing. It's, of course, it's also important what you draw with, but you can draw with your fingers or whatever you have, like the tool itself. If you're drawing on an iPad, or you're drawing with a color erase pencil, or it's not really. The most important is seeing, and you are basically seeing all the time. So yeah, in theory you shouldn't really need to be drawing all the time to get better. It's just kind of rest your eyes and use them in a different way, and that will also kind of make you a better artist, build up your mental visual library of stuff. And so what I'm trying to say is, taking breaks, there's nothing bad in that, and drawing every day, making it a habit, it's a good thing. But it's not necessarily, it is as important to take breaks and take lots of them as it is to keep on drawing. All right, I think also I'm gonna stop this drawing soon. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I might have screwed it up a little bit. It's a little bit messy all over the place. Just gonna tone this whole area down. Just kind of try and simplify it a little bit. Right. I think this hand here, I didn't never really get into it so much. Just do a quick. Oh man. Yeah, it's not the best of hands, but it's all right. Yeah, let me just outline the whole thing for fun here. Yeah, it's a really nice pose. It's quite got an interesting silhouette when you look at it. I could have simplified the whole shading bit a bit more. That could make it more interesting. Something like this. All right, but that's it for me. That's it for my 14th of Figuary, halfway there. And thank you so much for tuning in. Go in and support Croquis Cafe. They are doing an amazing job putting this together, and you're also very welcome to go in and subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow my Facebook page or like me on Instagram. And yeah, I hope you have a lovely Valentine's Day, and I see you again probably tomorrow. All right, bye guys.